Hello and welcome to this exclusive masterclass where I'll be teaching fullbacks and wingers how to become the best possible player they can become and ultimately to become pro. Now, who's this for? This is for the player who has very high expectations of himself. He wants to go as far as he can in his rugby career and ultimately get paid for it. He has a very, very strong work ethic, but he knows he needs improvement in his game and at training if he wants to reach that next level. Now, who this isn't for is a rugby player who loves rugby, but only trains once or twice a week and doesn't really have any ambition on making sides and ultimately to become pro. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. This video just isn't for you. But if it is for you, this is well worth your time because you could be doing anything at the moment. You could be watching Netflix, Instagram, Facebook, but it's really not going to get you anywhere. And what you will learn today is what we do at the Rugby Pro Academy, and we take amateurs and we make a professional environment for them because we all know if you want to become a professional, you have to train like a professional. So definitely grab a pen and paper and start taking notes. If anything resonates with you, definitely write it down because the next 20 minutes is quite crucial. One thing today, this video I'm not trying to sell you anything. In fact, the more things I give out, the more free content I give out, the more clients I get. So I really want you to take things down and think, how can I implement things into my training? Now, if you did like this video and you wanted to work with me, there is a link down below and you're more than welcome to put an application in and maybe you can work with me because I can't work with everyone. So anyway, to get started, who am I and why should you listen to me? Because there's a lot of rugby coaches out there. First of all, my name is Luke Rooney, and I've had 14 years of experience of rugby and rugby league in Australia, playing in Super Rugby, playing in the NRL. But I've also played over in the top 14 in France, in the European Cup, in the Heineken Cup, and also in New Zealand. I've played with and against the best players in the world in both codes, which has taught me so much. I've also been coached by the best coaches, and I would even say mentors, because they gave me a path, which wasn't just rugby, it was other things. Which got the best out of my ability. I've also had the chance to work with the best strength and conditioning coaches in their field, and it showed me a lot. And I definitely know that this day and age, if you're just building one attribute like your rugby, you're just not going to make it because you need them physical attributes if you want to go pro this day and age. Now, why am I doing it? First of all, I absolutely love rugby, and rugby's given me a lot. Second of all, I love to help people, and I've been helping a lot of people out, but I want them to experience a life where they live their own dreams. I got to experience mine. All I wanted to play is professional rugby and win competitions, which I did that. And people aren't always that far off. They think they are, but they always aren't that far off. So I would love for people to experience what I experienced. And what I experienced was just living my dream, being able to play rugby day in, day out, and meeting great people and get to travel for it. So that's why I'm here. And I just have a huge passion for rugby. So to you now, the biggest problem you'll face, well, there's a lot, and I've could have named so many, but I just named a few obstacles that you'll face. And the first one is not executing skills under pressure, resulting in poor performance. Now, I could have wrote so many notes where you could be missing one-on-one tackles. You could be dropping heaps of balls, not kicking properly. It's just so much. But if you really break down the basics, you have to ask yourself, can I do this skill under pressure at a high pace? And a lot of the times in amateur, the answer would be no. And that's the difference between amateur and pro, because pros can do these skills and they can do them very, very well under pressure at a huge, at a high pace. Okay, that's pretty much the only difference. Okay, there's not a huge difference. Otherwise, sometimes there's a bit of physical attributes that goes into it. At the end of the day, if your skills are so good, they're some of the best in the world, it's going to be hard not to make teams. So that's a big difference. You have to ask yourself. The second one I put down is getting dominated by opposition. Now, are you getting dominated? Because if you want to make it in rugby and make different teams, you're going to have to be the dominant one. You can't be getting outplayed by the player in front of you, or just getting shown up because you don't have the skills or the ability to do what you want to do in a rugby field. You're just not going to reach that next level. So you have to really think about, it could be the high ball. How are you under the high ball? How's your one-on-one tackling? Could be how's your grabs, your skills? How's your kicking game? And do you have a belief system? Does that let you down? There are so many obstacles, but I just want you to really think about these, because without all these, the foundational skills of rugby, you're just not getting recognised for your rugby, which is just huge. Another thing is people are just not getting involved enough in the game. And being a fullback winger, we have to play off the ball. So a lot of people just look at wingers, what they do with the ball in hand, but you have to go searching for the ball. And I get these questions all the time. And if you don't train for it, it will never come, because some people come more naturally than the others, but some people really need that kick in the bum to actually get them going. But if you're not playing well off the ball, you're not even in contention. But I know your pain and frustration, because I've been there. I remember being a 15, 16-year-old not making teams and thinking I'm good enough, but there's something missing. It wasn't until I had mentors, great mentors when I was younger, who actually taught me different things with strength and conditioning, with mindset. And they brought me up holistically. And all of a sudden, there was a couple of games I just blitzed the field and it all came together. Another thing with rugby players is we only have a short window to go pro. So we can't say, okay, in 5 to 10 years, that's when I'll be hitting my straps. Because really, if you haven't made it from 18 to 25, it's quite hard to make it. I'm not saying you can't make it outside that, but that's the main age. And the reason why is maybe if you're 27, 28, 29, and there is people who make it, there is some every year, but just there's not many. It's like 1 or 2. And the reason why pro clubs, I'm not sure they want to invest in that player as much. They might have a 17, 18-year-old who they would love to invest more. By the time he hits 21, 22, he'll be hitting his straps. So you always have to think, we don't have that huge window like other careers. And then I just put you here, not making teams you want. And there's usually a reason why you're not making your teams, and you have to understand why. Because after you understand why and you do the skills you need to and build your physical attributes, you will get noticed. Now, the results you want a contract, you want to win premierships, but you have to do the A, B's and C's to get there. So you want to just be a complete player who can execute any skill under pressure and fatigue. We've been through that a bit before, but it's so true. Can you catch and pass under fatigue, under pressure? You have a good kicking game? Can you catch every high ball under pressure? Can you do, anything, one-on-one tackles, or are you just letting in tackles? Because if we don't make our one-on-one tackles, it's pretty much usually going to end up in a try, especially where we are at the back there. So it's very, very crucial to get the A, B's and C's right, as we say at the Rugby Pro Academy, and then your game just flourishes, okay? Because at the end of the day, you want to be a player that everyone wants to play for and with, okay? And when you get into that mentality and people see you that way, that's when you start making other teams and you get a pro contract. Okay, and the most of all we want to do, we want to reach our full potential. We don't want to say what ifs. You want to reach your full potential as a person, as a human, and as a rugby player. So what that takes is a commitment to act. You have to act as a rugby player. As I said before, there's only a short window. And if you're not in that window time, it's very hard to come in. You can do it, but it's going to make it extra, extra hard. So what we do here at the Rugby Pro Academy is we go take an amateur and we put him in a pro environment, because we always hear all the time, amateur gets a pro contract for a couple of months, and then in 6 months from there is the best in the world. It's only because he's changed his environment and gone to a pro environment. So what we do, we create a pro environment, but before we even touch on that, I always think there's an amateur point A and you want to get to point B. You have to do things in between to get to point B. Everyone looks at point B, I should be here, and this is what I have to do, but they don't look at themselves at point A. So definitely have a clear vision of where you're at today. How's your skills? How's your fitness? How's your strength? How's your mindset? Okay? And if you don't know that, you'll never get to point B. So when you all know that, and we'll go through that in the Rugby Pro Academy, we go through a wheel. And this wheel just keeps going round and round and round. So the first bit of the pro wheel is the mindset, because we know mindset is absolutely huge. We'll go through that. You build your strength and conditioning, your physical attributes, you build your rugby up, and you build your nutrition recovery up, okay? And it all goes round and round. So after a day, after a week, after 6 months, after a year, everything flourishes. Because if you only think about rugby and strength and conditioning, you're gonna miss out on half the things that you need to be a pro rugby player, okay? You have to be able to deal with setbacks. You have to have motivation. That comes from mindset. Or if you're training so hard and you're not recovering, you're never going to get the best out of your sessions, and you will never reach the top performance. So if you want to be a pro rugby player, we have to keep going around the wheel, and then everything flourishes and you become an ultimate player and you reach Pro B. So the first one is step one is mindset. We evaluate where you are. Where are you at point A as an amateur? Okay, and where do we need to go? We look at your strengths and weaknesses in the game, and we have a look at your skills. How far are your skills are amateur to a pro? And that's when we get a program and we get you going straight into it and we get you playing better. Having a good mindset is being a 24/7 rugby player. Are you just training for 2 hours, like a pro rugby player, not 2 hours? And the other hours you're doing absolutely nothing because it just won't get you anywhere, okay? As I said, you have to be on point every day and for 24/7 hours of the day as well. And that's sleeping, that's eating properly, that's working on mindset. Because this next one with the resilient setbacks is another big one. Can you come back after pressure? If a team comes out and absolutely wallops you after 20 minutes, do you have the mental capacity to say, okay, that's happened, but I've got the ability to really go out there and absolutely cream them and come off a winner? Because it's a tough thing to do when you're down after 20 minutes, getting absolutely bashed, okay? And keep coming back. And the other sides will go, oh, geez, this guy is serious. He's going to keep coming back at me as much hard as I hit him, okay? And that is a sign of a pro player. And the last one I've got here is work ethic. It's a must. You have to have it. And I promise you go to any pro club, if you get a contract, they won't look at your squats, they won't look at your speed, they won't look at your rugby, they'll look at your work ethic. And that's the first thing they'll comment on. Has he got the work ethic for us to build him up and to go pro and to make their side? Okay, that's the first thing they'll take. You want to be a good rugby player, it has to have a huge work ethic. You have to change your mindset and you have to have a belief in yourself. If you have a look at the pro players, you have a look at their belief. They might make a mistake, but they'll come back. They'll come back bigger and better because they don't put their head down after they make a mistake. They come back because they know they've done the hours beforehand. They've got the mindset there. And then if they drop a ball, well, that's just the way it is. It won't happen again. Okay, so are you like that? So how to become a person who has a huge a mindset and become a mind of a pro is having goals, session goals, having daily goals, weekly, monthly. And you're going to go through that every day. You're going to go through that pro wheel. And it just becomes a routine. You keep doing it, all of a sudden everything flourishes. Then you have the KPIs. A lot of rugby league players say, what's KPI? Well, KPI is a key performance indicator. And we just have an indicator like the statistics of how many meters you make or how many high balls you drop and catch or just stuff like that because we want to see your statistics in a game and how you're going through monthly, weekly, and even yearly. Okay, and then every day you're self-improving yourself, and that's how you become a mind of a pro. So every time you go to training, you're listening to the coach, you're bringing everything in, you're like a sponge, okay? You're taking everything in, and you're always learning. Even if you're the best player in the world, they're always learning, I promise you that, and that's how you become a mind of a pro. Now, step 2, nutrition recovery, and this for amateur players is usually non-existent, but just bear with me because it is so important, and that's why it's part of the wheel. Do you have recovery strategies from foam roller, trigger, mobility, breath work, which is huge, sleep, massage, ice, or meditation? Everyone's doing meditation these days in pro rugby because they know it's so important. I mean, you should at least be doing 3 or 4 of these every day. Now, you have to ask yourself, am I doing 3 or 4 of these a day? Because if you're not, and your nutrition is not there, your recovery strategy, you're never going to make it. So let's think about a week. Monday, you have a huge session. You have a 2-hour session. It was unreal, 100%. You go home, you don't have a proper nutrition, you don't sleep properly, you don't have any recovery strategies. Tuesday session is going to be about 60, 70% because you just don't feel as good. You feel a bit sore, you're just not all there. Wednesday, you have a day off. Thursday, you have a great session because you are recovered. And Friday is a bit like Tuesday. Okay, so out of that 4 days of training, because you haven't had proper nutrition, proper recovery strategies, you pretty much be able to train like a pro 2 days out of 4 days. So if you do that 1 week, you do that next week, all of a sudden it turns into a month. 6 months in a year, and you've done half the work that you should have done. So you have to really think about that. If you're putting the time in, everything has to be pinpointed. And that's why it's so important that you recover from your sessions because you're breaking down muscles in the rugby session. You break down muscles in the strength and conditioning sessions. And if you're not fueling your body with the proper nutrition or the recovery needs, you're not going to get anything back from what you've just put all that effort. There's going to be no return on investment because your body, it just can't keep up, okay? You have to fuel yourself with the proper nutrition and you have to be doing your recovery strategies. And that's why you're a 24/7 rugby player. Because really work hard, rest the best you can, get the proper strategies in, equals success. And there's a lot of books about that. Have a look at that. So important. At the Rugby Pro Academy, we've kind of been through that the recovery strategies. Do you know how to build a meal? And this is what I always ask. First thing of nutrition is because there's so many things out there. But it's so easy if you just know how to build a meal. And we just do it for you. The most simplest things. So you say, I've got this, I've got this, I've got this. I know, okay, I've got these 4 things. I'm fine. I know the portion size. I'm perfect. Here, I'm gone. And it just switches mentally, and it's much easier to stick to it. And that's how you become pro. Another thing is with nutrition is just we make better choices. We make you make better choices. And we do that because you're understanding nutrition and performance. Because if your nutrition's no good, your performance is going to go down. You just can't keep up. In rugby, you always say you have to thrive, not survive. You're not surviving the sessions and then just struggling for the next one. You're always thriving, okay? Because if you're feeling a bit down, it's probably from a nutrition recovery standpoint. Understanding fatigue and recovery, been through that a bit, eating around training competition. This is so individual. I leave it up to the individual. I have my input, but you have to try it before training and before games, because people might say, look, you should be doing this, you should be doing that. But at the end of the day, if you're nervous and you can't put anything down, it's not going to do anything. So people are very individual at this. But we help you out and try to get the best solution for you. And you try it out. Might take 3 or 4 weeks, but you'll get there and you'll feel unreal when you're in the field. Hydration is huge, and most people are dehydrated. I don't even know it. Okay, a little bit of dehydration can rock your performance straight down. Okay, so this has to be on point every day. Next one is supplementation. If you want to go pro, I was going to have to say you're going to have probably something because you're training so much. If that's through protein shake, creatine, H&B, we can touch on everything. Not everyone needs everything, and not everyone likes everything, but it's good to try a bit. If you're just feeling not too good, maybe we can point you in the right direction. But the main thing is you're getting your fuel from the energy foods, and supplements is kind of just if you really need them. And usually as rugby players, we need them. We don't want to lose weight in the season. Stuff like that. We kind of need just that extra oomph to get you to your full potential. And step 3 is rugby, and we've been through this before. Amateur, they don't know the basics, or I can't execute under pressure or at speed. And we all know that. And you go to any rugby club and they're probably going to do the same drills anywhere in the world. But why is the professionals can actually do everything properly on the field of view? Everyone's doing the same drills. Okay, so you have to ask yourself, how are your drills at training? Because everyone does the same thing. So why are people good and some people don't make it? And it's because that intensity of it. Because are you self-improving every day, or are you just going through the motions? That's the difference between an amateur and a pro. Or maybe you just don't read the play well. Why do you not read the play well? Because here at the Rugby Pro Academy, we give out assignments. So we will give out assignments of you to watch pro rugby players in your position and ask, why did they do this? Why did they make this decision in this exact time? Okay? So it's huge. It's absolutely huge to actually understand the game and why we're doing it. Okay? Sometimes people just aren't physically there, and that's not uncommon. Sometimes they're really good rugby players, but maybe they just haven't got enough weight to support them when they go up that extra level and that extra competition, because people are just a bit bigger, they're a bit faster. And sometimes it just takes a bit more time to get these physical attributes up to here. But it can be done. That's the main thing. So if you have a passion for rugby and you have a goal, we can build anything up and point you in the right direction. And I could go on forever about rugby. Foundations day in, day out. It's like building a house. If you want to have a strong house, you have to build the concrete. You have to let it settle. Okay? If it's not settled and you start building, it's going to sink. It's going to go up, but it's going to come up like that. The roof will be on a different angle and everything. Okay, so if we don't have these foundations, you can't build. You just can't build, and the foundations are basic. Rugby is a very, very basic game. Okay, but the reason why people are amateur and pro because they don't know the basics in amateur level, or they think they know it, but actually they don't. They can't execute these basic plays. Okay, where pros can. And the reason why pros can is because they do it day in, day out, the foundations, where amateurs are always trying to move forward when they haven't got the basics right. So build that cement, let it settle, and then we build a house. And then because we build it well, we can keep adding levels and we keep going up, and that's how you reach potential. And it's not going to be sideways where you're going to get injured or anything, okay? So build that house, build the foundations properly, and then that's when we get somewhere. So the possibilities, you can go from missing one-on-one tackles to be making 2 or 3 scoring tries, try-saving tackles. Sorry, I'm all over the place. Okay, how big is this? If you do that, any team will want you for sure. and it can be done. There's fullbacks out there who's unbelievable at tackles. Okay, you have a look at, remember old Billy Slater in the rugby league. There's heaps of people in rugby union, but I just love Billy Slater because he did them every game. He won games from he's a great player in his attack, but it was his defense that actually won games as well. Just gives you another tool in your toolbox. Okay, when professional rugby teams look at someone like, he's got this over this, and you're going to get picked every time. And then you can become the best attacker in your team, scoring tries and set up tries. Them two things, you're going to go far. I'm telling you that. Okay, so if you're not the best attacker, or you're not scoring much tries, why is that? Is that maybe you're just running the wrong lines? Okay, are your physical attributes up there, or your skills just not there? You could become the best under the high balls. Why aren't you? Maybe it's a big confidence thing. Maybe it's technique. Okay, it could be so many things. Most of the time, people just don't put in the effort in the very basics. And if you don't put the effort in the basics to try and reach that next level, you don't have that confidence to do it, because you need confidence, but it takes time. Okay, master the foundations, big confidence in your foundations, and you can make any team. You can be the best player in your team, and then you ultimately become pro. Rugby Pro Academy always asks, what actions are you taking today? And that's why we say, what actions of the pro were you taking actually today? Because you probably should touch on every single one. What's your drills like? How's the intensity? Are you soaking everything up in that? As I said, there's a lot of teams out that do exactly the same drills, but what makes people actually come better and better and better, and that's usually intensity. Okay, here at the Rugby Pro Academy, we have a very rich slow intensity, the middle intensity, game speed, and we also have it above game speed intensity, so it makes it feel a bit slower when you're at game speed. So it's huge. Think about how you're training. Do you hit your KPIs, bread and butter, at training and in the game? Are you learning the game? Are you watching the game? Do you understand what your position needs? Why your position makes this decision in this type of game? Okay, it's huge. You just keep growing that will get bigger and bigger, keep going around, and then you'll absolutely flourish and become pro. Sometimes there's physical attributes and they're more like obstacles in your way. So is there a physical obstacle in your way? Sometimes you're just not fast enough, or you can't keep up with players or play. Okay, I think everyone's been there if someone's just way too quick. Now, why is that? Because you get a bit more strength, you can put more force in the ground, which makes them a bit quicker. Is he just putting more work in? Is he doing more speed drills? You have to ask yourself that as a rugby pro. You always have to ask yourself questions. Why am I not there? Sometimes you just get dominated in attack area. That could be a lot of things. It could be confidence. It could be you just don't have enough armor. You don't have enough strength, and you're just getting dominated. It could be you're just running bad lines. Okay, it could be something so small as that. But that's what we do at Rugby Pro. We break your game down, and then we get you going again. Maybe you're not an 80-minute player, which is a lot of people like that, especially until they get to that pro environment. Then they become an 80-minute player, and that's just putting in the work. Or you just get injured a lot. You have to answer, why are you injured a lot? Maybe you just have asymmetry, so one leg's bigger than the other. That's a big one. Or past injuries are coming back. Could be a lot of things, but you have to ask yourself, why am I always getting injured? So step 4 is strength and conditioning, and strength and conditioning is to complement your rugby. It's not to have massive biceps or triceps. It's actually to complement your rugby. So everything we do in the gym is to make you a better rugby player, okay? And it's also to have injury prevention, because it is huge. If you're injured for 6 weeks of the season or 12 weeks, it is absolutely massive. That's 12 weeks you can't get back to proper training, okay? So the first one at Rugby Pro Academy, we do mobility, flexibility. We get you be able to get in positions and to be able to execute in positions like your running position, tackling position, because if you can't get in positions, you're not going to express force like you should be able to. Pillar is just another name for a core, except core is a bit old school. We say pillar from the shoulders to the hips, okay, because everything's intertwined together. If your glutes aren't firing, how are you going to do a lot of core work anyway? So everything has to be switched on properly in this pillar, and we do that every day. Or maybe your scapula's out of whack a bit, and you have to learn, teach yourself how to move those properly, or you're just not strong enough. It can so much go on through that pillar, and that's why we call it the pillar, because that torso is your anchor, and everything goes around that anchor. Okay, but if you don't have an anchor, you're stuffed. You'll never be the best player you can be. because it just won't be there, your physical attributes. Hypertrophy was just getting bigger. Now, why do we do hypertrophy? First of all, because we need armor, because it's a contact sport. Second of all, the bigger the muscle, we say the cross-sectional area of the muscle, the bigger the muscle, the more horsepower you can get in the strength. So there's a big correlation between getting bigger and having that strength, okay? We need that strength, but to get that strength, sometimes you have to do a bit more hypertrophy, is get a bit bigger. Strength, everyone knows how important strength is, but power is so important, especially for fullbacks and wingers. And this is usually where amateurs drop off and pros excel, is because pros actually train to lift speed. If you're at the gym, maybe you might do a squat with just 20 kilos on it instead of 200. I don't know. But the thing is, you're lowering the weight and you're actually trying to have more velocity, so you're actually trying to lift quicker. And that's just like in a rugby, because we don't lift slow. We don't play slow, I should say. But we lift slow in the gym. So that's fine at times, but at times we have to kind of mimic what we do in the field, which is what amateurs don't do and pros do really well. Acceleration, top end, speed endurance. All I want to say here, you should know speed mechanics, because acceleration is different than top end speed. Say acceleration is off your ground or like a 3-point start. It's different mechanics than when you're off in a break, and you should know that. Even if you're not in the track and field, you should know, and you should be training for at least, I would say, hour and a half at least in the preseason about just your mechanics and actually getting you to run properly, because it can actually pay off so much in rugby. Okay. Next one is energy system development or training, which is just another word for cardio. Instead of saying, okay, we're just going to go over there, run a minute, 2 minutes, or 30 seconds. This one is actually, we pinpoint what you need. There's an aerobic, a lactate, and then an aerobic system. We pinpoint every system throughout the phases, and that's how we get better. Because some training sessions, especially amateurs, they just give you a thing, but they don't know what system you're in. Okay, we try to put you in the system in the best possible place so you can build that up, and then you build everything up and you become a fitter and all-around better athlete. So where I take you, well, I take you to execute skills under pressure, and that's all the skills. If it's tackling, if it's line running for your attack, it could be high balls, it could be anything. My main thing is to get you to execute the skills under pressure, okay, and under fatigue. I can put 2 kilos on you, but being able to carry it as well and actually just be just as fast. Or some people might not need 2 kilos. Some people might need to lose a bit of weight. So it's just kind of up to where you're at. You'll make breaks to be able to hit gaps with top end speed, resulting in more tries. If you're concentrating your speed, your lines, your confidence to the roof, 3 good things to actually really have some venom in attack. Make you unstoppable for 80 minutes and expose to speed when you want, because we're going to hit these energy system training. You'll be so much fitter, and you'll be able to switch on the gas a lot more times. You'll be able to do those repeated sprints. And all around, we just make you a better athlete. We can change everything. You can jump higher, you're fitter, and you're rugby strong. You're going to be a better rugby player. Okay? It's just the way it is. And we have to build those attributes up. So this is our phase training, building the machine. Phase 1 is more hypertrophy, getting bigger. Phase 2 is upgrading the system, more of a strength base, a bit more intense. And then we have phase 3, which is unleash the animal, which is really powerful. Still strength, but hitting a lot of power. They're getting you really quick ready for the games. Or if you're in the season, we might have to manipulate that, but it's still going to be building the machine, phase 1, upgrading the system, phase 2, and unleashing the animals, phase 3. So we're going to recap what we do at the Rugby Pro Academy. The path is step 1, mindset, because if you don't have that mindset, you can have everything else, but maybe you go on the field and you just buckle. Okay, you have to have mental strategies when you get put under pressure, or you're under pressure. Okay, so it's huge. Step 2, nutrition recovery, went through that. Step 3, rugby, executing your skills under pressure and fatigue. Step 4, building your physical attributes. You go around that wheel every day and you start to move and think quicker than others. That is huge. Keep going around that wheel, build everything up together. That's what we do here at the Rugby Pro Academy. And it's shown to have massive value to the rugby players who have used it. Okay? You have to ask yourself, where will you be in the next 12 months from now? Okay? Don't be where you are here in another 12 months. Make sure you're learning. and you're getting better as a rugby player. Remember that window? We only have that window for not a long time. So put all your eggs in that basket and really have a go. But it's going to have, you have to have a commitment to act. That's just the way it is. You have to act. As a rugby player, we can't wait for things to happen. We have to make things happen. I'm sure you've heard that before, but it's so true. So your next step, if you really like this video, schedule a consultation below where we can go through where you're at, where you want to go in 2020, and exactly how this system will get you there. Then you might have the opportunity to work with me. As I said, I can't work with everyone. I'd love to, but I just don't have the time. But if you're really willing to put huge work, you have a strong work ethic, and you do anything to actually try and reach your potential, definitely go for an application, go for a phone call with me, because I think it'll be worth your while. If not, I hope you got a lot out of this training, because I'm sure you will. And I just want to say all the best with your rugby, and I'm sure it will go well. Thank you.